And we're here once again. Earlier in the season, Cincinnati controlled most of the game with a double-digit win or double-digit lead against the Ravens, ends up going into overtime, and we lose the game. Now, yesterday, Thursday night football in Baltimore, Cincinnati had a 14-point lead in the third quarter. And what did we do? We blew the lead, and we didn't even get to overtime because of a 2-point conversion fail attempt. What do we blame? Well, one, the refs, the officiating was terrible, yes, and also the play calling was bad. First of all, Cincinnati was up, like I said, 14 points in the third quarter. And what happened to switch momentum? Chase Brown, we were running it like we usually do when we're up by two scores. Zach Taylor decided to just stop passing it and just hand it off, hand it off, hand it off, hand it off. Um, Chase Brown runs it up the middle, gets almost the first down, then gets stripped. Fumble. Ravens get at their 30. They score 7. They're only down 7. Then they stop our offense, and then they go score again, tie up the game, 21 to 21. Then they go up 28 to 21. Then we tie it 28 to 28. Then they go score, putting it 35 to 28. And then Cincinnati has a 2-minute drill, right? 2-minute drill. They go all the way down the field, score with 30 seconds left in the game, making it 34 to 35. What does Zach Taylor do? Goes for 2, failed attempt, and yes, there should have been multiple flags. There could have been multiple flags thrown on the play. Even some people arguing that there was a holding foul that wasn't called against the Bengals. Even if that flag was called and the other offensive flags were called, it would have been offsetting, and Cincinnati would have got a 2-point conversion attempt again anyways. But I understand going for 2. I really do. I understand. You're there to win the game. If you kick the extra point and tie it, most likely going into overtime, and then it's basically a coin flip. Cincinnati's defense wasn't being able to stop Baltimore, and Baltimore's defense wasn't able to stop Cincinnati. So you're basically relying on a coin flip. If Cincinnati gets the ball first, it's looking like Cincinnati's going to go win. If Baltimore gets the ball first, Baltimore's probably going to win. But I would take those chances with a coin flip rather than a 2-point conversion with 30 seconds left. Because even if you get it, you're still giving Lamar Jackson and Baltimore 30 seconds to get to, honestly, their 50. If they can get, not their 50, the 50-yard line. If Baltimore gets to the 50-yard line and there's 3 seconds left, I'm going to let Justin Tucker at least attempt the kick, because if he doesn't make it, Cincinnati doesn't get the ball back, it will just end the game. But I trust Tucker enough. If I get to the 50, I'm going to at least give him a try, and that's not like 100% out of his range. We have seen Justin Tucker do crazier things. So I understand the 2-point conversion. I would have just tied it because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase were going insane, and this Baltimore's defense could not stop Joe Burrow. So I would have rather have taken my chances in overtime, give them an actual, a whole drive to go win the game instead of banking on one play that wouldn't even have solidified the win for you. Like I said, Baltimore would have had almost 40 seconds to go down and get a field goal. And the three drives before that for Baltimore, they walked right down the field and scored a touchdown. So even you get the 2-point conversion, most likely you lose to a last-second field goal. And in all reality, considering they had 2 timeouts left, in that scenario, I'm kicking the extra point and banking for overtime. Because at least the game is tied because we missed it, and then you had to go for an onside kick, which obviously failed. But you kick the extra point, it's tied. If they go down and score or get a field goal, at least you might have maybe some time remaining. You never know. Or they end up stalling the drive and you go to overtime, and then you're relying on the flip of a coin, which I know you don't want to have the game decided by a flip of a coin, but also I would also rather not have a game decided by a freaking no flag on which refs should have thrown. And that's not just me, that's even the rules analyst of the game and Kurt Herbstreit and Al Michaels, who were calling the game, agreed that both defensive holding on Mike Gesicki should have been called and that a roughing the passer should have been called on Joe Burrow. Listen to what they had to say, like actually live during the game. Listen to what they had to say during the game.
Back to the two-pointer we go.
This is after the throw and the two-point conversion. Oh, wow. It's another one. And Joe doesn't complain very often. He didn't there. He just kind of grabbed it. Wow, look at that follow-through. And then you throw that, and then the Gesicki. Yeah. Terry, what do you see here on both these? The hit, the follow-through on his face mask, and then Gesicki.
Yeah, it was clearly defensive holding before the pass was in flight.
Yeah.
That should have been called. And that does look like forcible contact to the head of the quarterback. That's a person. That's roughing the passer and should have been called.
Too many games end this way. They just do.
Yep.
You miss calls, the whole thing. It's so frustrating to the fans. So frustrating.
How do you not call that? Like, how do you not call that? Even if you call holding on Cincinnati, the flags, like I said, they cancel each other out, and it's a redo on the two-point conversion. I mean, I disagree with even going. I understand. I don't completely disagree with going in for 2-point. You're there to win. Go win the game right then and there, even though Baltimore still had a chance to win. But how do you not call that? In the most pivotal play of the game, I don't care the situation. I don't care if Joe Burrow didn't look at Gesicki. That's a flag. And even if they say it didn't affect the play at all because Joe Burrow didn't even look Mike's way, he didn't even look to the left, whatever. They still smacked Joe Burrow right in the face. That's roughing the passer. Regardless if you call a defensive holding, you have to call roughing the passer. There was multiple roughing the passer flags that should have been thrown in that game. And one of them ended up getting Joe Burrow hurt. Zach Taylor today said it's just a sore arm. It's just got a little bit of bruise on his arm. That's it. But still, that flag, roughing the passer, is there to protect the quarterback from getting injured late after he threw the ball. One of them, he got tackled on his side, right at the ribs, 5 seconds after he threw the ball, and there was no flag. And then that 2-point conversion, what happens? He gets smacked in the face, and there's still no roughing the passer call. And Joe Burrow's not one to complain, and he even said that in the press conference after the game. He's not one to complain about not getting flags, because he even said, I usually don't get those kind of flags, so I just kind of accept it. But in that the most pivotal moment of the game, you have to call the flag if there's a flag. If there's no flag, I agree, obviously don't just call a random flag. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But there was multiple flags on that play that could have been called. A defensive holding against Mike Gesicki, roughing the passer to Joe Burrow. There was a face mask to Cody Ford. There was another face mask on another offensive lineman. It was terrible. The officiating the whole night was terrible. But I'm not even mad at the refs. I'm more mad at the play calling from Cincinnati. It was actually, in certain moments of the game, it was atrocious what they were doing. It was 4th and 3 and 4th and 2. Two separate situations. One in the first half, one in the second half. First half, it was 4th and 3. I agree with being aggressive. I was very happy to see Zach Taylor being aggressive in this game. 4th and 3. What was the play call? A 30-yard pass. A 30-yard bomb down the sidelines. That catch, most Bengal wide receivers can make that catch, but that's still a low percentage of making that catch. 4th and 3, you throw a 30-yard bomb to a low percentage catch. 4th and 2 in the second half, in a pivotal moment again of the game. 4th and 2. And before that, on 3rd and 2, you threw a 30-yard bomb to Jamar Chase on the sidelines that he dropped. 4th and 2, what do you do again? You do maybe a little running back angle, get you 3 yards, get you 5 yards, maybe a drag route to Jamar Chase, maybe a slant to Jermaine Burton, maybe a little in route or an out route to Yoshi or Mike Gesicki. Nope, another 30-yard bomb to the end zone to Jermaine Burton that he dropped. And it would have been a spectacular catch if he had caught it anyways. Why are you calling that play on 4th and 3 and 4th and 2? It makes no sense. And it's just so frustrating watching the play calling and certain situations where it's obvious what you should be doing. On a 4th and short yards, 4th and 3, 4th and 2, do a little running back angle, do a small route that is guaranteed to get you 5 yards. Don't throw it deep. It's In that situation, we do not need 30 yards. We need 2 yards. We literally just need 2 yards. All we have to do is make sure this drive continues to go. Don't need 30 yards in one play. I would rather just get 2. Get barely across that first down line and keep the drive alive rather than just sending it down the field. It makes no sense. And that was the defense is proving why Cincinnati needed to make a change and during the trade deadline. We needed to go get Marshawn Lattimore and we needed to go get Chase Young. Just for depth. Marshawn Lattimore, one of the most consistent cornerbacks, he would have been huge yesterday. Chase Young with the defensive line, just adding depth to give more guys rest and having him put pressures on Lamar Jackson would have been huge for us last night. But nope, Cincinnati didn't make any trades on the defensive side. We used Khalil Herbert, and I only saw him. Khalil Herbert got him one play yesterday. His first play as a Cincinnati Bengal was a fumble, and he jumped on it, and it was 1st and 10 and went from second to 10 because he jumped on the ball on the line of scrimmage. So even the guy we traded for got one play, messed up, and we didn't see him the rest of the game. I don't know. What do you expect Cincinnati to what do you expect the players to do in that situation, especially Joe and Jamar? Let's look at what Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase did yesterday against the Ravens defense. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase's stats versus the Ravens. Joe Burrow threw for 34 completions on 56 attempts. He passed for 428 yards and 4 touchdowns. Jamar Chase had 11 receptions for 264 yards, and he caught 3 touchdowns. What more can Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase do? Not much. And yesterday, in the video I posted for pregame, I said, what is the formula for Cincinnati to beat the Ravens? I said Joe Burrow has to throw for more than 400 yards, and Jamar Chase has to receive more than 200 yards. That's exactly what they did. Joe Burrow went over 400, Jamar Chase went over 200. And that still wasn't enough to beat Baltimore. What more can you do? You should have added depth to the defense. Maybe a few years ago, not get rid of Jesse Bates. Maybe that would have been fine. Maybe pay one of the best safeties in the league to stay in your team. Now he's the best safety in the league, arguably, in Atlanta right now when he should be in black and orange in Cincinnati. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. The play calling in certain situations has to get better. Defense personnel, we have to figure something out in the offseason. We have to figure out something. The defense used to be one of the best in the leagues a few years ago. Especially when we went to the Super Bowl 3 years ago, it was one of the best defenses in the league. I know if you can keep this core offense together, Cincinnati's Bengals offense will be fine. You really just have to worry about the defense. And then the certain play calling in certain situations killed drives all of last night. It was so infuriating to watch. We had both times we have played the Ravens, we have had them exactly where we want them, and then we let them walk back into the game and then win the game. In Cincinnati a few weeks ago, and then in Baltimore yesterday, the exact same story played out the exact same way. Cincinnati is now 4-6 on the year, 3rd in the AFC North. We got the Chargers next Sunday. And Cincinnati realistically has they can lose one more game the rest of the season. And if they lose one more game the rest of the season, they would finish 10-7, which is a pretty good spot to be in for the playoffs. But Cincinnati has one of the weakest schedules remaining, including the Chargers. I just blanked on it. Broncos. We have to play the Browns again. Then we have 2 games against the Steelers. So if we split against the Steelers, that would be our only loss that we could have if we split. And the Steelers are looking like a really good team, especially they have a really good defense, and their offense is getting better now that they added Mike Williams, and Russell Wilson is looking like he's in his prime. So the Cincinnati Bengals' chances to making the playoffs is now 25%. Play calling has to get better. Zach Taylor has to get better. The offense has to score 30, 40 points a game for us to even have a chance. Joe Burrow has to throw for apparently more than 400 yards, and Jamar Chase has to catch for more than 200 yards for us to be even close in a game, apparently. Not even win, but to be close. And the defense has to figure something out. Lou and the defense personnel has to figure something out to stop the opposing offenses. Other than that, I don't see how else the Cincinnati Bengals can go on a run. And we've seen it happen. We have seen Cincinnati be on a team that can get hot late and then go on a winning streak. We have seen it happen before. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I have quite little faith in this team altogether. And the offense, I have a lot of faith in Joe Burrow. I have a lot of faith in Jamar Chase. I have a lot of faith in T. Higgins. I have a lot of faith in Trey Hendrickson. I have a lot of faith in Lou. But is that enough to lose one game the rest of the season? I don't know. Obviously, we'll see eventually. But Cincinnati has to figure something out to put less pressure on Joe and Jamar Chase, because they can't do this every single week. They can't. Those numbers that you're looking at right now should have been enough to beat the Ravens, but it wasn't. You can't expect Joe and Jamar to do this week in and week out. It's just not going to happen. It cannot happen in the sport of football. It's what Cincinnati needs to happen to keep winning, but it's most likely not going to happen because of how the sport is. But yeah, that was all I had to rant about today. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the Bengals Digest channel, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.